Hi guys, my name is Andrew and I am a DAT assistant instructor, and in this video we're going to look at two very important concepts: inheritance and polymorphism, and they are concepts in object-oriented programming. So if you're coming into this video, you've probably created a few classes, you've worked with properties and methods, and you've made it this far. Now object-oriented programming takes your programming skills to the next level. It tells you now that you can have probably classes working together, borrowing some information from each other, etc. So if we look at the words just loosely, inheritance of course is that's bequeathing something with something. For example, a son inherits wealth from the father. That's one way of seeing it. And polymorphism is just two words brought together: poly meaning many and morph meaning forms, so many forms. We'll stop there with the nitty-gritty of the words, and we'll jump right in and walk through a particular concept. So ideally we are all human, well, at least not counting the robots. So we are all human, and by being human we are by definition either male or female or any other gender, but primarily these are the most popular, so you're either male or female. So we can talk about if you're human, you're either male or female, so something of that sort. So ideally, if you look at the direction, it's like human is pushing something to male. So ideally, male or female are inheriting from human. Now we'll walk through a class. I'll put together maybe a class. I had created it in this file. It's this class. I'm just going to lift it and I'll paste it here. So basically this is a class human. It has this constructor. Once you initialize this class, you have to give the human a name. All humans have names, so this is this property, and humans have ages, they have weights, and then I have this particular property that is called is female. So if the human you're initializing is a male person, is female will be false, and if the human person is female will be true. I hope that makes sense. So we have the constructor and then the properties, and now this human has methods that popular to all humans. So either humans are eating, they're sleeping, they're breathing, and I have this extra method where you can see the gender. It's just you can see the particular gender or the particular sex of this human. So ideally all these are things you expect a human being to be doing, either eating, either sleeping, or either breathing. And basically what these are doing are just printing messages. They're saying this particular person's name is eating. So maybe Mark is eating, or Diana is eating, Mark is sleeping, etc. So these are the properties and methods of this class. Now instead of trying to complicate the class, we can create another class so that we demonstrate the concept of inheritance. And that class, we can name it, we can start with the class female. So basically this class is going to borrow from human, which is where inheritance comes from. So female female will now do what we're calling extending. So in that programming, you use the extends keyword to say that this class that is on the left side, female, is extending from this other class called human. So this is where inheritance is happening. So ideally, just at face value, it means this female has inherited the human behavior of breathing, sleeping, eating, and it has also inherited these properties. Now we are going to do something that is now going to expound this class, something I had already done. So I'm just going to lift this code and then I will explain it. So ideally what's happening here, we have this other constructor. So when female extends human, it also picks this particular constructor that we created here. So we have to tell that this particular class that is extending human also has this constructor, and this constructor is borrowing from the super constructor. So basically the keyword here is super, and when you click it, when you control click it, it'll take you back to the human constructor. This means that we are inheriting that class, and as a matter of fact, we're also inheriting that constructor. So of course that explanation is not really, I don't really need to know all that, but ideally we have extended the class and we have copied the constructor, and we have now said that this constructor is going to borrow from the constructor in the human class. I hope that is clear. And then now, particularly for females, because we have this concept of is female, we have this concept of true. So that this class, anytime you create an instance of this class, of the female class, the gender will, the is female will always be true. Such that you can create maybe another class, you call it male, I've just copied and pasted, and then pasted here, so male, and then once you create this is female, you can mark it to false. So I have created one class called human, and this class is like our main blueprint. Then I've created another class, this is class number 2, which is female, that is taking from human. Okay, and it's extending humans, and we have this one method that I'm going to use to demonstrate polymorphism. But ideally this is the concept of inheritance, where one class borrows from another class, and those classes have to have a relation. You can see like here, human is related to female, so female is like a specialized class, human is like the general class or the generic class, and female is the more specific class, such that when you want to create an instance of a female person named maybe Cynthia, you won't use the human class, but you will use the female class because it is more specialized or more specific. So that is the concept of inheritance. Now we're going to try and initialize. Let's try and see what this does. So we are going to now create an instance of female here in the main function. So we'll create a variable like var. We'll use var, and then we'll call that person Hannah. So of course, if it's Hannah, Hannah is a female name, it will extend from female, and then of course her name is Hannah. Her name is Hannah. So we are giving information for the constructor to now create this instance. So Hannah is 23. Hannah is about 120.5 pounds and is female. Yes, that's true. So when you now call Hannah and you press the dot, you will see now all these properties and methods that are particular to the human class. We have borrowed from the human class. If you go back, if you scroll down, you will see that here, probably, let me comment this out, we don't have any methods. We don't have any methods here, but we have methods from this class. We have breathing, eating, sleeping. So when you press the dot sign from female, you will see that it has inherited breathing, eating, sleeping. So let's call sleeping, and then let's now see what that will print in the console. So that main dot it says Hannah is sleeping. So the name that we passed, it just ran the print function, this sleeping function that just prints the name of the person and then is sleeping. So that is to demonstrate that inheritance has actually happened and methods have been borrowed from the human class. So that is the concept of inheritance in an example. So now let's go to polymorphism. Then now I will comment back this class. I will this method. We'll comment back this method. Comment out. Yes, comment out, comment in. So this is the female class that we created, and so I'll comment this out so that it doesn't confuse anyone. And then now we have this method. It's called eating. It's the same as eating in the human class or the human superclass. So human is a superclass and female and male are the subclasses. So at this moment you have this class, and it also has some different message. So for this class, eating is just saying the name. For example, in our example, Hannah is eating. But for female, it will say Hannah is a girl and she is breathing. So I want you probably to pause the video. I'll comment this out. And then I will do this. Hannah.eating. I want you to pause the video and try to guess what will be printed. So we have this commented out, and we are now calling the eating method. So what do you think this will print? You can pause and maybe take a guess, but if we try, maybe you can save first, main.dat, and if you see, it will say Hannah is eating. So basically, we have not implemented the method in the subclass, in the female subclass yet. Then now I'm going to ask you again to pause the video, because I'm going to comment this back. And now the question is, now that we have eating here in the subclass and eating in the superclass, what is this line going to print? Oh. Okay, now after that pause, we can confirm what it's saying. And you see it says Hannah is a girl and she is breathing. Now this explains the concept of polymorphism in this way. So polymorphism basically is having a function appearing in many different forms. So we have this function or this method that is called eating. And eating can appear in two ways. It can appear as the method in the superclass, and it can also appear as the method in the subclass. So that is loosely or a loose definition of polymorphism is that we have methods coming in different shapes and forms. So there's not too much to polymorphism, but a key thing is this particular keyword that I commented out, which is called override. And override basically is trying to tell us that we are implementing a different form of a method. This method is appearing more than once. It's appearing many times. It has different forms, different shapes. So it is expressing the idea of polymorphism. So the override keyword, which basically has no effect on the meaning of a DAT program, just tells you that this method particularly is being overridden. There's a method that is coming from another class, mostly a superclass, that we are not going to implement. So anytime we have this method that has the same name as a method in the superclass, the method in the subclass will always override the method in the superclass. So ideally, those are the two main concepts of inheritance and polymorphism. It's not very complicated. It only takes a lot of practice, and the concept runs deep, but this is just a walkthrough and an overview. And now keep practicing. Make sure you practice, make sure you create your own classes, and make sure you develop classes that can relate with other classes, so that you have these concepts of inheritance and polymorphism working out for you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.